Here's the thing, when I said about your comment being unbalanced, you acknowledged that Amber Heard is toxic too. And then you went on to say that using the words in his phone, the texts, and I understand what you're saying. The reality is domestic violence does become toxic because the victim does fight back, but not in a way that one might say. See, the thing is, the real abuser don't need to write down in text, don't need to verbalize their frustrations, because they take their frustrations out on the victim. They do what they want, they act what they want, they put fear when they want, raising a hand, scaring. The ones who are the victims lash out, but in words to their friends, out of sight, out of fear. They don't. If he really felt that way, and he was the words that you say, and this is why I say the unbalance, because you're saying that he wanted to her and he did that to her. You're saying they're both toxic, but you're only acknowledging what he did to her. But the thing is, most survivors relate to those texts and understand, because they know in those moments of fear, to their friends, to family, in the moment of darkness, and you do get a dark sense of humor. And this is why most survivors heard those texts and got it. They knew. But anyone who knows me, I know I found my voice through the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. Before that, you wouldn't have had this from me. Simply switch on a light and watching a victim on a stage own up to his pain. Yes, he is no angel. He confessed all his wrongs in that stand, but there was no wrong confessed by AH. Not at all. No accountability. And again, another reason to why we see that narcissism in no accountability and lack of it. Johnny Depp, hands up to his lowest moments, having to reel that out. Her, everyone else to blame, not her, just him. Anyway, I started writing a book about my experience in domestic violence, my life, the aftermath, this platform, speaking, finding my voice because of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, and connecting dots to help others. And I'm going to read a part of my book now, which has been wrote a while back. You know, this is a couple of pages in, and I will explain to you why. I felt safe to begin with, yet my face out of sight and just my voice speaking out about how we as children sat around the kitchen table most nights when he wasn't around. We were safe that way, he couldn't hurt us. Giggling, hoping our abuser would in a car crash. Even saying these words out loud make me realise how sick that sounds and the hell I was in. And this victim will find it hard to convince the world of the way of our mind and how this dark humour stems from the hate that they install within. This was a disturbing memory to just be floating around. It makes you feel sick to the core. Although you have balance and know why and understand why it's there, it still taints you, and your mind makes you feel less pure and sick. I was desperate to explain, for I felt a need to justify this and his behaviour, as I too had gone there in time and had this left hanging around in my mind. To explain to people we know why he had gone there and why they have found dark twisted texts on his phone. I knew and I understood this and to why. Our whole existence was exactly this, a sickening dark humour left to get me through, one needed for survival. This was not my fault, this poor little girl. For there was never any light, always dark, no light switched on, no daylight, only night, just a blackness consuming you inside and out, which had made me want to scream and shout, but my body, my trauma wouldn't even allow, as it would kick in, just like these moments it did back then. I understand the text. I completely relate to that feeling, that hatred, that fear. But the reality is, an abuser don't need to text. They don't need to verbalise in a way like that. They take that hatred out on their victim. And that's why I will stand by Johnny Depp, because I, as someone who's lived it, I know and I've been there.